Senator Hatfield, Mr. Chief Justice, Mr. President, Vice President Bush, Vice President Mondale, Senator Baker, Speaker O'Neill, Reverend Mumma, and my fellow Americans. To a few of us here today, this is a solemn, most momentous occasion. Yet, in the history of our nation, it is a commonplace occurrence. The orderly transfer of authority, as called for in the Constitution, has routinely taken place, as it always has for nearly 2 centuries. Yet few of us ever stop to think of how unique we really are. This every 4-year ceremony we accept as normal is nothing short of a miracle. Mr. President, I want every one of our fellow citizens to know just how much you've done to carry on these traditions. Through your gracious cooperation in the transition process, you have shown a watching world that we are a united people pledged to maintaining a political system which guarantees individual liberty to a greater degree than any other. And I want to thank both you and your people for maintaining the continuity that is the bulwark of our republic. From time to time, we have been tempted to believe that society has become too complex to be governed by self-rule, that a government of the elite is superior to that of a government made for, by, and of the people. And to them I ask, if no one among us is capable of governing themselves, then who among us has the capacity to govern someone else? Every one of us, inside or outside the government, must bear the burden. The solutions we seek must be equitable, with no one group signaled out to pay a higher price. And so, as we begin, let us take inventory. We are a nation that has a government, not the other way around. Our government has no power except that granted to it by the consent of the people, and this makes us special among the nations of the earth. And it is time to check the reverse growth of the government, which shows signs of having grown beyond the consent of the governed. It is my intent to curb the size and influence of the federal establishment, and to demand the recognition of the distinction between the powers granted to the federal government and the powers reserved for the states or for the people. Every one of us need to be reminded that the federal government did not create the states, but rather the states created the federal government. And so there will be no misunderstanding. It is not my intent to do away with the federal establishment, but rather to make it work with us, not over us. To stand by our side, not ride on our backs. Government can and must provide opportunity rather than smothering it. A government must foster productivity rather than stifling it. When looking into the answer as to why, after so many years, we've achieved so much, it is because here on this land, we unleash the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. The freedom and individual dignity of man is more available and assured here than any other place on earth. And though the cost of freedoms is at times high, we have never truly been unwilling to pay that price. We have every right to dream heroic dreams. Those who say we are in a time without heroes simply don't know where to look. You can see heroes every day coming in and out of factory gates. Others, a handful in number, producing enough food to feed all of us and then the world beyond. There are entrepreneurs with enough faith in themselves and faith in an idea to create new jobs, new wealth, and as a result, new opportunities. These are often individuals or families whose taxes support the government and whose voluntary gifts support the concepts of church, charity, culture, art, and education. Though their patriotism is often quite deep, their values sustain our national life. I've used the terms they and their when addressing these heroes, but the proper terms would be you and your, because I'm addressing the heroes of whom I speak. You, the citizens of this blessed land, your dreams, your hopes, your goals are going to become the dreams, hopes, and goals of this administration. So help me, God, that we shall reflect the compassion that is so much a part of your makeup. How can we love our country and not our countrymen? Loving them to extend out a hand when they fall, heal them when they are sick, and to provide opportunity to make them self-sufficient enough that they will be equal in fact and not just in theory. After all, why shouldn't we believe that? We are indeed Americans. God bless you, and thank you.